Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez just spent $50 million on a wedding that shut down Venice, triggered protests, and redefined what billionaire luxury really looks like. It had it all: private islands, designer fashion, A-list stars, global backlash, and operatic romance. The price of love. What does a billionaire wedding look like when the groom is worth $230 billion and the bride is a former broadcast journalist turned helicopter pilot who now moves in elite circles? You start by booking one of the world's most iconic cities, and then you turn it into your personal playground. Venice, Italy, one of the most romantic places on Earth. For 3 days in late June 2025, it became ground zero for the most extravagant wedding celebration of the decade. The couple reportedly had already signed legal papers in Florida, so what unfolded in Venice was purely symbolic, but every detail was intentional. From a black tie ceremony on the private island of San Giorgio Maggiore to masquerade balls and foam parties, nothing about it felt traditional. Arrivals in style. When you're part of Bezos' inner circle, showing up in coach isn't an option. Over 90 private jets flew into Marco Polo Airport. Others arrived on super yachts, many quietly docked outside the main city to avoid too much attention. The guest list? Unmatched. Around 200 of the biggest names in entertainment, business, and politics stepped onto Venetian soil. The Kardashians Kim, Khloe, and Kris Jenner arrived fashionably early. Kim wore a gray Balenciaga two-piece with oversized shades. Khloe stunned in a leopard strapless dress. Kris kept it classic in black ruffles. Orlando Bloom appeared solo, while Leonardo DiCaprio slipped into Venice under a cap, keeping a low profile alongside girlfriend Vittoria Ceretti. Bill Gates arrived with his girlfriend, Usher was ready to perform, and Tom Brady was in the crowd too. Even Queen Rania of Jordan and Ivanka Trump with Jared Kushner made the list. Where did they all stay? 5 of Venice's most elite hotels, including the iconic Aman Venice and Hotel Cipriani, were fully booked. Rooms started at $4,500 per night, with suites running far higher. Fashion, food, and Renaissance romance. Bezos and Sanchez began celebrations with a welcome dinner on June 26th. Guests joined the couple at the medieval church of Madonna dell'Orto, surrounded by works of Tintoretto, one of Venice's great Renaissance artists. Fresh pizza was made on site by a renowned Neapolitan chef. The vibe? Private, historical, and luxurious. Lauren Sanchez made her entrance in a dramatic Schiaparelli gown, first seen at the Pitti Palace in Paris. On the morning of the ceremony, she stepped out in a sleek white suit, showing off a mega-carat diamond ring and a beaded bracelet engraved LB, her new initials. When it came time for the vows on Friday, she stunned everyone with her Dolce and Gabbana gown. A long-sleeve creation of intricate Italian lace, 180 hand-sewn silk chiffon buttons, and a flowing mermaid silhouette, complete with a design inspired by Sophia Loren's 1958 look in Houseboat. For someone known for revealing fashion, it was her first formal dress that didn't show cleavage. She accessorized with Dolce Alta Gioielleria earrings, 4 flawless diamonds carved from a single stone, and a secret memento from her Blue Origin spaceflight as her something blue. After the ceremony, Sanchez changed twice more, a Rita Hayworth-inspired number and a final Oscar de la Renta gown embedded with 175,000 crystals. Ceremony on San Giorgio. The black tie ceremony unfolded on San Giorgio Maggiore, an exclusive island only accessible by boat. It was here, among priceless architecture and tight security, that Bezos and Sanchez said their vows in front of about 200 guests. Lauren's sons Nico and Evan walked her down the aisle. Matteo Bocelli, son of opera legend Andrea Bocelli, opened the event with a live rendition of Elvis Presley's Can't Help Falling in Love. And while the ceremony had no legal standing in Italy, it didn't matter. It was personal, intimate, and planned to perfection. The masquerade and the fallout. The reception was originally scheduled for the Scuola Grande della Misericordia, a gorgeous 16th century venue in the heart of Venice. But days before the wedding, security threats and protests forced a major change. The event was relocated to the Arsenale, a medieval shipyard surrounded by fortified walls and accessible only by boat. On Saturday, the final night of celebration, guests gathered for a masquerade ball, complete with performances by Lady Gaga and Elton John. It wasn't just a party, it was theatrical, high fashion, and totally private. Lauren closed the weekend in a crystal mesh Atelier Versace robe with matching slippers. Guests danced late into the night, guided by sets from DJ Cassidy and serenades from Usher. Venice pushes back. Despite the glamour, not everyone was celebrating. Protesters began mobilizing days before the couple landed. A movement called No Space for Bezos gathered momentum, staging symbolic demonstrations throughout the city. On June 24th, activists paraded a life-size mannequin of Bezos clinging to an Amazon box down the Grand Canal. On Friday night, the eve of the wedding, the words "No Kings, No Bezos, Efrientost Oligarchs" were projected onto the bell tower in St. Mark's Square. Greenpeace joined the protest, along with the UK-based group Everyone Hates Elon, who had previously destroyed Teslas to protest billionaire tax breaks. By Saturday, the protest hit full scale. Hundreds of Venetians marched from the Santa Lucia train station to the Rialto Bridge, many dressed in costume and holding signs. One placard mocked Sanchez's wedding wardrobe. "The planet is burning, but here's the list of Lauren's 27 dresses." The political and economic tensions behind the glitter. Italy has seen a recent surge in ultra-wealthy visitors, drawn by its luxury real estate market and a favorable flat tax system. While countries like France and the US are tightening rules on billionaires, Italy has become a magnet for the ultra-rich. Venice, in particular, has struggled with over-tourism, so much so that it recently became the first city in the world to introduce a tourist entry fee. Mayor Luigi Brugnaro defended the decision to host Bezos' wedding. Others, like Daniele Minato of the Venetian Hotelier Association, argued that high-net-worth guests were better for the city than low-spending day trippers. According to official estimates, the wedding injected between $47 million and $56 million into the local economy. Bezos himself pledged a $2 million donation to Carilla, a Venetian environmental research body working to preserve the lagoon. Around 80% of wedding goods from flowers to food were locally sourced. It was an attempt to give back, but the backlash continued. The rise of Lauren Sanchez. Before her name was splashed across international headlines as Mrs. Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez had built her own legacy. In the early 1990s, she was known as Wendy Sanchez, a sharp journalism student at El Camino College in Torrance. She wrote for the school paper and earned a reputation for her drive and voice. That small newsroom laid the foundation for what would become a long and varied career in broadcast. By the early 2000s, Sanchez was a regular face on TV. From anchoring Good Day LA to hosting So You Think You Can Dance, she was booked, busy, and loved by audiences. But it wasn't just entertainment, she blended charisma with hustle. And when she stepped back from television to raise her children, she wasn't slowing down. She was plotting her next chapter. In 2016, Lauren took to the skies. She earned her helicopter pilot's license, and just a year later launched Black Ops Aviation, a female-led aerial filming company. Not only did she shoot stunning aerial content, but she became the go-to pilot for top-tier productions, even consulting on Christopher Nolan's W.W. epic Dunkirk. That mix of media savvy, visual storytelling, and flight expertise made her a perfect fit for Jeff Bezos' world, and eventually, his space company. Lauren didn't just date the billionaire, she collaborated with him. In April 2025, she became part of Blue Origin's NS-31 mission, making history as part of the first all-female spaceflight, joining forces with Katy Perry and Gayle King. But Sanchez's influence isn't limited to the skies. In 2024, she authored a children's book, The Fly Who Flew to Space, a charming allegory about curiosity, dreams, and seeing Earth from above. It's a subtle but clear indicator of her personal mission combining storytelling, science, and advocacy. And this is what makes Lauren different. While many see her as a socialite, those closest to her describe her as the nucleus of a blended family raising 3 children, maintaining strong relationships with exes like Tony Gonzalez, and remaining super close to Gonzalez's wife October, who even attended her Venice wedding. Through all of this, TV fame, aviation, publishing, family, she's become one of the most public yet private power players on Earth. She's not just Bezos' wife, she's a mother, a pilot, an author, a businesswoman, and increasingly a public voice on environmental issues. In the end, Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez didn't just throw a wedding, they crafted a legacy-defining event. Whether you saw it as a fairy tale or a billionaire overstep, there's no denying it. This was the wedding of the year, maybe even the century.